Today we're going to be talking about what your ex really means when they say it's not you, it's me. And I really figured the best way to tackle this is by looking at some of the following factors. First, I feel like we need to really figure out how authentic is your ex being when they say this. And from there, looking at some of the authenticity triggers that can help you understand if they're being authentic or not. And then finally, understanding that a lot of times the "it's not you, it's me" excuse is disguised. So let's figure out if your ex is being authentic when they say it's not you, it's me. Now, I spent the better part of an hour racking my brain on how to approach this. And, my go-to often when I have a client come up to me and say, my ex said it's not you, it's me, or they gave me some variation of that, I'll often point them in the direction of this edict called egoism, right? So according to the God of Wisdom, Wikipedia, psychological egoism is the view that humans are always motivated by self-interest and selfishness, even in what seems to be acts of altruism. So it claims that when people choose to help others, they do so ultimately because of their personal beliefs that they themselves expect to obtain directly or indirectly from so doing. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not aware of too many situations where humans tend to be more selfish than in their quest to find love. So if you just go by this, that would mean that every single time an ex has ever told you it's not you, it's me, what they're really trying to say is it's you, not me. But there's something about this super simplistic view that was bothering me. So I actually decided to double check it. Sometimes it's good to kind of check yourself and see if you're right or wrong. And I have the benefit of having a decent audience to where I can kind of go ask their questions. So I went to our private Facebook support group, which is a group that anyone who purchases one of our products gets access to. Kind of a collection of individuals trying to get over their exes, trying to get their exes back, and just trying to self-grow, I guess. Kind of a weird saying. Anyways, I went to them and I basically said hey, look, I have this question. For any of you who've ever initiated a breakup at any point in your life and used the old "it's not you, it's me" line, did you really mean it? And if you didn't, why did you really initiate the breakup? Now, I was expecting to get a ton of answers to back up my thesis, which is psychological egoism, that we all seem to be self-interested, and even in acts of altruism, we're not really that altruistic. We're doing it for our own selfish gains. But that's not what happened. I let an hour go by, and by an hour, I had 20 detailed responses. And those 20 responses roughly fit into 3 specific categories. 7 people said that when they said it, they did not really mean it. They were doing the "it's you," or it's what they really meant is "it's you, not me," instead of "it's me, not you." 7 people also said that they really did mean it. And then 3 people said that they've never said it before at all. And I found this really interesting because essentially what we have here is a split down the middle. Half of our audience believes that when you say "it's not you, it's me," or when they've said "it's not you, it's me" at one point, they've really meant it. Half of them did not really mean it. They didn't want to hurt their ex's feelings. But I actually think the key to understanding authenticity with this response really turns out to be an answer to the poll that I ran in our private Facebook support group that I actually didn't include. I always do this. Sometimes what we get is people who will come to the poll and instead of answering one way or another, they'll give me something I'm not expecting. And this particular person responded, "Well, I've actually done both. I've had relationships where I meant it and then didn't really mean it." And I actually think understanding kind of this yin-yang approach is key to figuring things out. So here's what the comment actually had to say. She said, "Well, I've done both. The times that I didn't mean it, it was really them and not me, was when I didn't want to hurt their feelings because they were a really good person. This happened when a guy was way more interested in me and was clingy. When I did mean it, it really was me and not them, was when I really wanted to continue, but thought it best to step away. I've been blunt with a guy, told him I wasn't attracted to him and only saw him as a friend, and he didn't take it well, so it's a double-edged sword." So essentially what this comment triggered for me was that there was a potential pattern that could develop when determining if people mean it or don't mean it. And I'm going to call these patterns the authenticity triggers. So When I looked at all the people and tried to figure out the triggers based on people who said that they meant it versus people who said that they didn't mean it, it really kind of revolved around three patterns or factors developed. The length of the relationship, real life constraints on the relationship, and the recency of the last breakup. So let's take a look at the length of the relationship first.
Real quick, I want to say that if you're new to this YouTube channel or you're trying to figure out what you should be doing to get your ex back and you're trying to learn if you even have a chance in your specific circumstance, probably the smartest thing for you to do is actually stop by our website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, or take our Ex Recovery Chances quiz that can be found at exboyfriendrecovery.com. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, taking that free quiz is super easy to do. All you have to simply do is look in the description link below this YouTube video and click on the link you see there. It will take you directly to the quiz where you can fill it out and get an easy answer on what you should be doing going forward and overall what your chances look like in your specific situation. All right, so let's get you back to the video.
Generally speaking, I noticed that people tended to mean the "it's not you, it's me" statement if they were in a long-term relationship with that person. So if you have two relationships, one that's lasted like a month versus one that's lasted a year, the one that lasted a month is most likely to get the inauthentic "it's not you versus me" sort of answer. So that's the length of the relationship factor. So how long you've been dating the person who says this to you actually is impactful, because they're a lot more likely to be honest and open with you if they've been dating you for I don't want to say significant amount of time, but enough time to where they care about your feelings. The second authenticity trigger is real life constraints on the relationship. We did have one participant in the poll that mentioned they authentically meant it because of long distance factors. This person said, "I had done that to my high school boyfriend in the past. At the time, it was me because we were going to two different colleges and I didn't see a long distance relationship working at the time." We all like to think that we're masters of our own fate, but sometimes circumstances prevent us from having the ideal relationship scenario. And in cases like this, authenticity can be found. And then finally, we have the recency of the last breakup. So this is kind of like the rebound factor. Now, if you're not familiar with my research on rebounds, basically we found that most rebound relationships, the average rebound will last anywhere between 3 to 6 months, and I think the exact number is 5.2 months. So here's the thing. If your ex broke up with their ex and immediately moved on to you, only to break up with you within that 3 to 6 month range and gives you the "it's not me, it's you," it's more than likely they're being inauthentic and are still hung up on their ex. Now, additionally, circling back to that first factor, if you've been with your ex for longer than 6 months and they give you the excuse, then they might potentially mean it. And it can actually be a little tricky when you're looking at these authenticity factors or triggers, because sometimes they bleed into one another. And what's funny is I was writing an article yesterday for our website, Ex-Boyfriend Recovery, and I actually referenced a breakup text that one of our clients got. And what's really interesting about this text is that it's one of the best disguised "it's not you, it's me" excuses that I've ever seen. Now, the avid reader will simply look at the complex nature of the relationship in this text and miss it, but it's there if you look hard enough. So here's basically what this guy says in a text to break up. Or I think this is like the morning after he broke up with the girl that is our client. He basically said like, "Hey, I'm awake. I had my coffee for the morning. I've done a lot of thinking last night and this morning. I think you're right in saying that I'm not 100% over my ex," which I thought I was. And if I'm being honest, I'm really scared of committing into another relationship. Yes, I've got upset over it because I'm physically attracted to you. You're kind, you're caring, you're my type. But I know there's something broken in me. I brought baggage/problems from my previous relationship into this one. And until I've fixed it, I'm not sure I can be in a relationship. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have and will answer them as honestly and truthfully as I can. One of the best worded breakup texts I've actually ever seen. Ever. Most of the time, breakup texts can be kind of volatile or ghosty. You know, they'll sort of say it to you and they won't allow you to have an open dialogue. But I couldn't help but notice that this is also one of the best disguised "it's not you, it's me" texts I've ever seen as well. So specifically where the ex-boyfriend says, I know there's something broken in me. I've probably brought baggage and problems from my previous relationship. Until I fixed it on my own, I can't be in a relationship. Notice how he phrases everything in the first person here. I've, I, my. In fact, in the entire message, there's only 4 mentions of her, while there's 19 mentions of I, me, I've based terms. And I'm pointing this out because a lot of times people gloss past the breakup explanation their ex gives them, and they don't even realize they're literally being told it's not you, it's me. And exes are really good nowadays at disguising it, and the benefit is huge if you can really try to see that it's happening to you. And if you think about it, all you're trying to do often with an it's not you, it's me text is remain the good guy. You want to look like you're caring and you don't want to hurt the person, and there can be some authenticity in it. But what I'd like to do is look at the authenticity triggers with regards to this specific text to get an idea if he's really being authentic or not. And in my mind, this is a super tricky one because there's 2 competing authenticity triggers. First, there's real life constraints on this relationship. He's saying, I'm not able to get over my ex. And if you're entering into a relationship with that mentality, the relationship almost always is going to be doomed to fail. And then, of course, there's another authenticity trigger with regards to the recency of the last breakup. So in this case, when you're looking at it, I actually believe that the ex is being authentic due to the fact that he's actually referencing that he's still hung up on his ex. What would be inauthentic is for him to not call out the real reason. And oftentimes the real reasons for why we break up with people are painful, and we don't think they can handle it. Using the example I basically mentioned before, where we had this one client who said it's a double-edged sword, in that she literally told someone once that she wasn't attracted to him and only saw him as a friend. That can hurt someone's feelings deeply, and she was shaped by that experience to almost be a little inauthentic and tell a little white lie so that you can spare someone's feelings. But the fact that he's actually bringing it up and the fact that he's actually owning it screams authenticity to me. But a lot of breakups can happen in person. And this is where it gets kind of difficult. We have the benefit here of looking at a real life breakup text message. The problem with this is it's not easy for everyone to replicate this because a lot of times your breakup is happening in person. And our memory recall is not as good as when we can actually look and figure out the text message and read between the lines, understand the subtext. Nevertheless, the authenticity factors can actually help you understand what's really going on in your ex's head, especially if they're hitting you with the it's not you, it's me excuse. So one last time, here are the 3 major authenticity factors. The length of the relationship. Most likely, your ex is going to be authentic with you if they've been with you for a long period of time. They'll feel like they owe you an explanation, if you will. There's also real life constraints on the relationship. Sometimes if, for example, your ex doesn't believe in long distance relationships and you are in a situation where long distance is bound to happen and they break up with you because of that, that can be an authentic reasoning for the it's not you, it's me. And then, of course, the recency of the last breakup. Generally speaking, your ex is likely to be inauthentic with you if you are a rebound. And so when you're looking at these 3 factors, try to comb through the it's not you, it's me excuses that you have given in the past and your ex has given in the past to read between the lines and figure out what's really going on.